destruction at Jerusalem. It was winter. The festival of dedication is the dedication of the temple after it had been cleansed by Judah, or actually Jonathan. Actually Judah. Judah did it before he died, before he was killed later on. So he cleansed the temple, and it's, in winter. Okay, come on, November, December. All right. So Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. It's called you have to know what they're calling things there. That's where it is. Now I'm going to turn this off because I'm going to be looking at your midterm and giving you some clues here. All right. Everybody have their whiteboards? Ready to go here? You're gonna give each other some answers here. It's kosher, folks, we're on Jewish stuff. It's kosher to look at each other's whiteboards. You can get the answers from each other, but not during the test. All right, now, show everybody, share the information here. Okay? We got to get the cobwebs off the brain here. You got to get going here. Okay. Just outline of the test. There are 75 responses on this test. Ooh, why do I do 75 responses? Because if I do a short test and you happen to miss one thing, it's like, it kills you. If I have 75 responses, it's more even. They're not all hard, but it's like comprehensive, all right? So there's going to be 75 responses. There will be matching questions, multiple choice, and short answer. There will be no essays because your handwriting drives me crazy. I've done this before. But my students, type it, give it to me, don't you dare. Oh my God, I get crazy trying to read people's handwriting sometimes. So that's what I learned as a Bible college teacher. Avoid their handwriting whenever possible. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Just some facts about Daniel. Can one of you tell us who Daniel, let's see, write on your boards, who was Daniel? Give us his background. Write a few words about him. Who was Daniel? Where did he come from? See what you remember. We know a little bit about him. I'm going to hold one of your boards when I get the right answer here. Oh, Patrick, brain's got to work. So we got here. Daniel. Where are my notes? Okay. Okay, we're getting there. A Jew taken into exile. Can someone be more specific? What kind of family he came from? Yes, we see a board here. Came from a noble family. Okay, he was part of nobility. All right, either from the kingly line of excellent spirit. He knows this guy's going to give you an answer no matter what you ask. All right, yes, he was. Let's see. He was handsome. All right. Okay. Now, we mentioned also that most probably because he was put under the care of the head eunuch, that he himself was a eunuch, that they made these men into eunuchs when they came to Babylon. That's almost for sure when you really look at the evidence of it. He doesn't speak about it, but it looks like that. All right, let me go on here a little bit. Look at my questions. Okay. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel, they refused to eat the king's meat. Tell me what they did eat.
You gotta write it down, it doesn't count.
Come on, what they eat, folks. Pulse? Vegetables? What do we got? Veggies, yes. It was either beans or vegetables or both, called pulse. Okay? That's what they ate. All right? And of course, they didn't want to eat anything unclean. God kept them healthy doing this. All right? Now, let me go on here and think so you have to remember. Okay. We have several proud kings in Babylon. Think about this. Nebuchadnezzar, give me an example of him in demonstrating his pride. Then his great-grandson, Belshazzar, an example of him demonstrating his pride. And lastly, Darius, demonstrating his pride. These kings were all governed to pride at some point. Put their name down with an example of their pride. Now we're putting things together. Nebuchadnezzar's pride. Belshazzar's pride. Darius's pride. Of course, the pride comes before the fall. What are we doing here? What do we got? Okay. Nebi, no one prays except to me. He's got the right thing, but the wrong king. That is Darius. That's why he got thrown to the lions. Okay? Yeah, no one prays but to any god but me for 30 days. That's Darius. It's his pride. Nebuchadnezzar, oh yes, he is proud that he built Babylon. This is Babylon that I have built. Yes. And then he got stomped like a cow for 7 years. Yeah. Moo. Okay. And let's see. Belshazzar, an example of his pride. This is the easiest. Who's got it here? Oh boy. I think you better study your notes before next week here. Let's see here. What we got over here? Russ, maybe he's got this for us here. Let's see. Drinking out of the cups from where, Russ? From the temple in Jerusalem. Yes. He got out the gold and silver cups from the temple and drank out of them and praised the gods of silver and gold. Yes. Okay. And of course that night he dies after the handwriting on the wall.
I was right.
So 3 kings, 3 examples of pride. Some pretty amazing things happen in God humbling them. Okay? Very good. Let's go on from there. You need to know your types here. Remember in chapter 2 there's an image. Let's start with the image. The head is made of what, folks? Gold, and it represents who? It represents the Babylonians and Nebuchadnezzar. Then we have the arms and chest are what color or what metal? Silver. Representing what kingdom? Medes. Yes, and the Persians. Okay, absolutely. Okay. And then we have the thighs, midsection, hips, thighs. What metal? Bronze. Representing who? The Greeks or the Macedonians, Alexander the Great, and in the Grecian Empire. And then the bottom parts of the legs and the feet were made of 2 substances. Iron, and the feet were mixed iron with? Representing who? Rome. Okay, your 4 empires. Now let's move ahead here. Chapter 7, we have those same empires again, but with different images. Let's see. In chapter 7, they all came out of the Great Sea, meaning the Mediterranean area. The first image to come out of that sea was a what?
Lion.
I heard it. Did I hear someone say?
Lion.
Lion. With what did it have on it? Wings. Who's it represent? Anybody louder? Babylon. Especially Nebuchadnezzar. Okay? Especially Nebuchadnezzar because that lion stood up like a man. It speaks of Nebuchadnezzar's conversion. Okay? That he became, less inhumane, less beastly, more humane. All right. And then after the lion with wings, our next beast to come out of the Great Sea was a bear. He didn't go over the mountain, but he did come up out of the sea. Okay, so we have the bear. And remember the one shoulder higher than the other? Because which empire was the greater empire in this dual empire? Persians. Yeah, okay. All right, very good. Then the third animal coming up out of the sea was a
Leopard.
leper. With how many heads, folks? Four. What, and the four heads represent Alexander's what? Four generals. Okay? And that had wings too. So incredible, speaking of the speed of his conquest in 12 or 13 years. And the last beast coming out of the sea in Daniel chapter 7 was, this is interesting, he's not given one animal or another, it's a combination of animals. He's just called a beast. Okay? But out of that fourth beast come how many horns, folks? 10. And that is in the future. At the time of the Antichrist, the world will be controlled by 10 nations or kingdoms. And then a little horn, the Antichrist, will come out of those 10 horns. All right. Now let's go to Daniel 8, what we did tonight. Again, we have we have two images here now. Whoa, excuse me, two images that go at each other. What is the first image we see that is strong and no one can stand against it? Anybody?
Ram.
The ram. Okay, if you've got a ram truck, maybe that'll help you a little bit. You got a little ram on the front, you know. Horns. They have magnificent horns. Some will crawl out like this, some go like that. Like, powerful. And, okay, we have the ram. And then we have, against it came a what? Goat. And where is Goat Town? It's in Macedonia. Okay, it speaks of Alexander. Okay, he's the goat with the one horn, speaking of him as the one powerful leader. His horn is broken. And then up come how many horns? 4 horns. And again, this speaks of his 4 generals. But that is history. Those 4 generals and their descendants controlled, life in the Mediterranean and the Middle East for hundreds of years. Okay, so you're going to be asked questions about what those represent. If you know what each one, okay. Oh, your medals here. What does gold represent?
Deity.
Gold. Hold on, you're not loud enough for me here.
Deity.
Divinity. Okay, or God himself. All right. And silver represents what?
Redemption.
Redemption. Bronze represents? Judgment. And I think iron is similar to bronze, but iron speaks of captivity, meaning chains of iron. So okay, so those, you'll have to know what those metals mean in some way or another during the test. Let's keep going here. Oh, pretty good on those. Now, put it on your boards. The name of the king, this is according to Isaiah. Isaiah gave his name. Isaiah said the name of the king that would send the Jews back to Judah. What's the name of that king? Isaiah gives his name before he's ever born. We talked about it, we mentioned it. I'll give you a little background if someone comes up with it here. The name of the king that said to the Jews, you can go back to your homeland. You have my blessing. Yes. He's known as another one, Cyrus the Great. By the way, what they have from Cyrus is they have a declaration. Cyrus did this with not just the Jews, but with many people that had been moved in different conquests. He sent a number of different people groups back to their native land. Okay? He's a remarkable, unusual king. And the Jews are among them. That's an historical fact. Isaiah prophesied about it. I don't know if I have the chapter and verse in front of me. I don't think I do, and I don't have it committed to memory. All right. Now, let's see. You should remember this. We did this tonight. The name of the priest who started the Maccabee rebellion. What is the name of the priest who started it? Begins with an M. Matthias. Matthias. And he shortly dies after starting the rebellion. And his son who takes over, his name is? Judah or Judas. Okay. And he gave himself a nickname. What was it, folks? Hammer. The hammer. Okay. All right. Now, they defeated 2 armies of a madman ruler. What was that madman ruler? Antiochus the what? Fourth. Epiphanes Illustrious, or as the Jews call him, Antioch the madman. And he did go mad. So they were right. He's a type of the what, folks? Antichrist, yes. All right, let's keep going here. Get some harder things here. Oh, let's go back to one of our first classes. The grandson of Noah, who started an evil empire involving idol worship. No. I see Shem. No.
Her?
You got it. I see it right there. Got it. Nimrod. Okay, yes, Nimrod's empire. And does anybody remember Nimrod's lovely wife? I don't know if she's lovely or not. She didn't do too many lovely things. Semiramis, yes. And it was really Semiramis who made up the story of Nimrod ascending to the sun, and that her son being killed and resurrected. What was the son's name? Tammuz. Tammuz, okay? Remember we showed you the scripture in Ezekiel of the women weeping for Tammuz in the temple? Okay? This had a long-range effect. Yeah, it's a death and resurrection story, but a fake one. And let's see. In the time of the Babylonians, Semiramis has a different name. A gate in Babylon was named after her. What was her name by the time we get to the time of Nebuchadnezzar?
Ishtar.
Ishtar, yes. And she was a goddess in Babylon. Really, Semiramis, the same goddess. Okay. So I hope you got all that. Doing this quickly here. All right. Let's see. Oh, yes. What does the name Daniel mean? Ooh, the name Daniel. What does his name mean? There's a couple of interpretations. They're very similar. Write them on your boards. I'll share what you put down. Daniel's name. Good, good. We got someone's got it here. Daniel's name. Go ahead. I see back here, God is my judge. That's one interpretation. The other one is very similar. God is my judge. Any others? Yes. Judge of God or judgment of God. So his name either means the judgment of God or God is judge. The importance is that Daniel his prophecies would display the judgment of God. Okay, so it was a very apt name. All right. Doing good on this. Changed. Okay. We covered a lot of ground actually quickly. You're halfway through the test, did you know that?
No.
Actually a little more. All right. I'm not telling you how I'm going to ask these questions, but this information you're going to need to know. Okay. Now, this one we did the other day. People are still a little weak on this. I looked this over again. There's actually 4 men in the Bible who we know a lot about their lives, but there's never a mention of their sins, never a mention of any fault, even negative statement by them. Who are there's 4 of them. We're going to talk about them a little bit. Those 4 men, who are they? I told you 3, and I looked over my list. There's a 4th one. I forgot. 4 of them. Let's see if you can come up with 4. I think we mentioned it, but maybe not all at the same time. You got the 3. Good. Okay.
I got 1. Oh,
Got Daniel up there?
yeah.
Okay, Daniel's 1. So is Samuel. And so is Joseph. The other one, and I always forget him, not Elijah, but Elisha. Okay, now, how do they do it? Joseph seems to be the case of a young man that obviously he's sold into slavery and then he's a prisoner and he was forced to serve. difficult. You learn to be a servant and never changed. Became a great servant of God. Daniel, likewise, has probably watched his family killed, made a eunuch, made to serve in the palace, and through service became a great servant. Samuel really served in the temple as a young boy. Whenever his mother weaned him, he became a servant in the temple. Elisha is a little different. We don't know about his real young youth, but we know as a young man he was called to be the servant of Elijah. And he became his what? Servant. The key with all four of those men is that they were amazing servants, and they were put in a position where they had to serve, doing very menial things. So the servant thing with those four men is remarkable. That's the link between the four. Oh, and they're Teflon men. No dirt stuck to these guys. Oh, one other thing. Elisha did it in part because he had a double portion of God's Spirit. He had the grace to do it. Okay? And of course, all these men, God had to give, for Joseph to go through what he went through, it was not just human strength or character. The grace of God was on this young man here. He never would have succeeded as he did. I think they all had a double portion, really. To be that kind of a servant, you need the double portion. So there's a lesson in that. You need grace to serve, and these men had grace to serve and kept receiving it. Now, they're important people in our Bibles, no matter what Bible course you're taking. All right. Let's see. Before Alexander went conquering, who conquered the Greek states before him? His father. Remember his name?
Dad.
Just did it tonight. Philip, the what? The second. Okay. And he really established this army that then Alexander used. Okay. We're getting there. Ooh. This is a hard one. Give me a list of the things that Antiochus IV did to destroy the Jewish faith. Make a list on your boards. And please remember that all of these things, likewise, the Antichrist will do. No Sabbath, that's one. Keep going. Oh, you're working on your list. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to read these as I see people putting them up. We mentioned he banned the Sabbath. He banned circumcision. So if a woman had her son sacrificed, she was put to death, the son was put to death, and all of her children were put to death. This is an attack on Judaism. And remember that Abrahamic covenant, to get the blessing of Abraham, the son had to be circumcised. This was an attack on Judaism, on their blessing. Ended temple worship. Absolutely. They disallowed any Jewish sacrifice in the temple. Destroyed the scriptures. Ooh. And if you had the scriptures, you were put to death. And that give us 5 so far?
Not the pigs.
And let's see if we've got any others here. Pig sacrifice, yes, they were forced to sacrifice pigs in villages and towns all over the country.
And Zeus.
Temple with Zeus in it, yes. They erected a statue of Zeus in the temple. And someone here has had on the board high taxes. They tax these people to death, if you will. Okay, so the great enemy of the Jews, the madman. All right. Is that time enough for people to get them down on their notes if they didn't? No. You may want to check with someone else's notes. Okay.
We could watch the video.
We've got a lot of ground here. Lucifer in Isaiah 14:14 declared, I will be like the Most High. Make a list of things that show in which way Lucifer will be like the Most High. What is he going to do to be like the Most High? Or what? This is past, present, or future. What has he done? Is he doing? Or is he going to do that will make him like the Most High? We spent a whole class on this. You know, how is he like the Most High? Or how is he going to attempt to be like the Most High? He said he's going to do it. He's going to try to do it. Isaiah 14:14. That's going back to a class about 2 months ago. That's hard. Actually, not fake, real. Okay. We have, look at this response here, fake resurrection. No, he's actually going to do a real resurrection. He's going to receive a deadly wound and be healed of his wound. It's a real resurrection story. And that's why it says he was and was not and will be, because his soul will go into hell temporarily and then come back out when his body is healed. So we have a resurrection story that the world will believe in. Oh, it's awful. Now, I didn't go into this, but remember all the miracles God is going to do first before he's going to allow Lucifer to do this? We went through those. Okay? The 2 witnesses, the 144,000 Jewish evangelists preaching, the rapture. All those things happen first. We mentioned even the Ezekiel invasion. It will probably be soon before the tribulation period. After all those things, God revealing himself, then Lucifer is going to be allowed to do certain supernatural things. What else, besides his resurrection, what else is going to do that's going to make him like the Most High? Looking for answers here.
Virgin birth.
Jack, we got something there?
Virgin birth.
A possible virgin birth. It may not be a virgin, but with no father. Yeah, supernatural birth. Yes, that's a possibility. Some theologians would say yes, some no. It's a possibility. I can see that it could happen.
Put in a place of power.
Okay. Yes, what other ones? There's a couple others that are really very obvious. Okay. Yes, sitting on the mount of the congregation. He's going to sit in the temple in Jerusalem, the mount of the congregation, and declare himself God. Ascend above the clouds. He's actually going to do that or not? I haven't thought about that one. Okay? I'm not sure on everyone. What other ones we have here? We need a few more. If you don't give it to me, I'll give you a real obvious one. Come back to life. Bring peace, false peace. Absolutely. Very good. Yes, he's going to bring a period of false peace to the world, temporary. He's going to come in as a man of peace. I didn't have that on my list. Good. I'm glad you put that down. He's going to do supernatural signs and wonders, particularly through the false prophet. Yeah, nobody had it down, but yeah, I think you all know he's going to do that. Yeah, that he'll be like the Most High in that way. He's going to be like the Most High. That's how he's going to be like the Most High. Right. Let me see if there's any others I can think of. We did possible a supernatural birth, death and resurrection, sitting in the temple, declaring himself God, his miracles done through particularly the false prophet, him being a man of peace. All those ways he is going to be like the Most High. All right. Yes, how many times is the word Babylon used in your Bible? About how many? We threw that number around.
360.
Give me a number on one of your boards. Come on, let's see you do it.
40.
60. 35, that's too many. Wait a minute. Where is Fred? Fred looked it up on his phone for us.
130, she's got.
I think the 260, it's either 265 or 270. Okay, that's how many times Babylon's in your Bible. All right, yes. Obviously important. I didn't put it in yet, but I may put a question in. Oh, yes. Babylon in the book of Revelation, we've talked about it. It represents three things. What are they? We actually mentioned that, talked about the Babylon in the book of Revelation. It's a triple. What do we got? Some of you folks need to study. You just have to teach the class 3 times. You don't have these answers all at the top of your head. Just set you up to teach somewhere. Okay. Pride.
To learn twice, yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Any answers here? A false religious system. Okay, Babylon had a religious system. That's what the tower was like in ancient Babylon. They were going to build this tower up to heaven. It spoke of a false religious system. That's one thing. There will be a false, worldwide false religion. Okay? And it will help the Antichrist come to power before he betrays the leaders of it. It says, no, no, no. Forget that one religion. I'm the religion now. You worship me. But he's going to rise to power with the help of a false religious system. That is Babylon. What else does Babylon mean in the book of Revelation? A city with a global government. Yes, there's a real city of Babylon. You actually got the third one. The government of the world will be run from the city. So we have a global government. It really, because of the mark of the beast, if the city of the Antichrist is Babylon, which we believe it's going to be, then the 666 system will be centered in that city. So we have an economic system, a religious system, and an actual city. In Babylon, all three will fall in the book of Revelation, but not all exactly at the same time. So Babylon means three things. In ancient Babylon, they had an economic system, they had a religious system, and they were a real city. Babylon is still with us. Crazy. All right. Ooh, we talked about the first two churches in the book of Revelation. The first church was Ephesus. What does Ephesus mean? And what historic period does it represent? One word for Ephesus. That's close. Oh, it's blanking out in my head now. Uh-oh, I finally blanked on one of my own questions. Oh, I got it. I got it. I came back. Okay. First love, they lost their first love in Ephesus. Yeah, you're remembering the right church.
Desirable.
Okay? Desired. That's why some of you wrote beloved instead of desired. It means desired. The idea is this was the church of the apostles. This was the church that God desired. That's why we have the book of Acts as a model. It's like Ephesus. Okay, that's the first age. Do you remember the year for the apostle, the age of the apostles? Going to the death of John. He'd be the last living apostle. About what year? We talked about this. It's an easy one, really. Yes, I see it here. I was sharp on this. 30 AD to 100 AD. John died around 100 AD. Some people used 160, meaning the apostles still, what they did and the kind of church they had an effect, after they didn't end the minute they all died. But it's the age of the apostles. Okay? And the Ephesus means desired. It was the church the way God desired. Not a perfect church, but a healthy church. An evangelistic church. A church with lots of Christian love. A church dedicated to the Word and prayer. Anyways, our next church is Smyrna. What does Smyrna mean? Oh, you health food nuts should remember this. Here we have it. I think you spelled it right. Does myrrh have 2 R's in it? Is that right? Myrrh, M-R-R-Y-T-H? It's a tough spelling. I won't take off for spelling. I can't remember how to spell it. I'd have to check. Myrrh, and myrrh was used for embalming. It comes from the sap of a tree, a desert tree, a scraggly tree. It is a type of Christ. It speaks of suffering, and it also speaks of healing. Myrrh had healing. The sap of a tree can be used to heal different things. I didn't mention this in the class I did it, but there's a story with this. You remember Lewis and Clark expedition, Louisiana Purchase, the good old days in the U.S.? They came to a village where a chief said, my wife has a wound in her back, can you heal her? And they went out in the woods and got some sap from a tree, applied it to the wound, and healed the woman. And the chief gave them all kinds of gifts that helped them on their way. And they put it in their log. They kept a diary of their trip. They used sap for healing. It's, in different places people knew it had healing properties. So, by the way, frankincense is also made from the sap of a tree the same way. Myrrh. You strike the tree, you bleed the tree, you take the sap, and it has different healing qualities. Okay, so myrrh speaks of the suffering church, the age of the martyrs. And last thing, what are our years? From 100 AD to what? When did the age of the martyrs end? When they stopped imperial persecution by the Roman emperors. This is the big date in church history. Then I'm going to let you go home. You're close. You're close. You're close. You're close. But you know what we have here? No, boy, good thing we have review. Okay. The date is 313 AD. The event is the Edict of Milan. Constantine, considered the first Roman emperor, meets in Milan in Italy with the emperor in the east. The event was this other emperor, I forget his name now, was going to marry Constantine's half-sister. So while they're, having the wedding, they get together and they decide to make this statement that every man can worship his deity, God or gods, as soever he pleases, without persecution. So it gave religious freedom to everyone in the empire. And so then the age of imperial persecution was over. There were 10 emperors. That's why it says in Smyrna, 10 days. It speaks of that, 10 days of suffering. It could be interpreted those 10 emperors that persecuted people during that time. And of course, the problem was that once that edict was signed, we have a new problem. The next one is, let's see. Oh, I'm forgetting the third one. I know what it means. I'm forgetting the name now. We'll get to that. But it's the marriage of the church and the state. It's the next problem with Christianity. Instead of martyrs, we have compromise. That's going to be the next stage. We'll talk about that. Okay. It means thoroughly married. Is that? I can't remember if it's. Oh, who's got their Bible out? What's the third church? I have it here. I'm blanking out. Should remember these things. Okay, here it is. Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos. Pergamos is the third church. It means either, if you look at different Greek definitions, it means thoroughly married, or it means married, or thoroughly married, or completely married. Okay? And it speaks of the church and the state becoming one. And the state having an ungodly effect upon the church. That's what comes next. But that's not on your test, but that's what you're going to see next time we talk about this. All right. I think we've got everything. Whoa. You're ready. Okay. Study your notes. Check. Listen to this class again. And even if you're not, taking it for credit, try it, see what you do. Maybe you want to change your mind and take it for credit, okay? Please remember the Pastor Handel formula for passing his course. If you show up, you pass. If you want an A or a B, you better do well on the test. we have this curve thing, Honestly, if you show up for class, I think you deserve credit for taking it. Whatever part you learn, okay?
I forgot to hand it out.
Okay, God bless you.